The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Good evening and welcome to the January 2025 edition of For the Love of Words. I'm your host, John Holgerson, and tonight on our program we have poet Christina Liu. Christina holds a Bachelor of Arts in Writing, Literature, and Publishing and a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing from Emerson College. Formerly an ESL counselor, she is currently Senior Academic Advisor and Library Studies faculty at Boston Architectural College. Creative workshops include from Madeleines to Umami poetry on gastronomy in collaboration with Rhode Island's Frequency Writers. Her poetry is published in Dream International Quarterly, Pangyris, Mass Bay Library's LibGuides, and most recently, The Path Belongs to Us via Middlesex Community College. She is a contributor to the anthology Metaphors Are Not Enough, Poetry and Prose, by the Street Feet Women, where she has been a member since 2014. Christina has been co-organizer for the Boston Poetry Marathon since 2020, raising funds for causes such as Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate, and reproductive justice. Recent readings include the Boston Poetry Marathon, the Boston Poetry Salon, Jamaica Plains Chapter in Verse, She PVD Festival in Providence, Rhode Island, and the Brockton Public Library's Voices of Diversity, Everyone Has a Voice series, where I first met Christina just last month. She is also scheduled to do a reading at Poetry, the Art of Words in Plymouth, Massachusetts at the Plymouth Art Gallery on North Street on February the 9th, 2025. And I'm aware of that because that is the poetry venue I frequent the most. Do you have other readings, Christina, where you're going to be doing your poetry?
I may have a reading at a very cute venue called Sin City in Providence, and it's a multi-arts collaborative where I'm essentially using my poetry as a backdrop or an accompaniment to my friend's photography. So I'm very excited about that, and that is taking place in May.
Oh, that's great. Do you know the date?
It's tentative, but it may be May 2nd. So I appreciate your asking.
Okay.
It's a work in progress.
Okay. You'd be surprised. There are a number of members of our viewing audience who, once they hear a poet read on the program,
Wow.
they tend to follow him or her, especially if they're a person, within driving distance, within an hour or so of the Easton area. So with that said, let me begin by some of the basic questions, which is when did you first come to poetry, or when did poetry first come to you?
I love the latter part of your question, which is when did poetry come to you? It reminds me of one of the titles of a wonderful poet, Anne Sexton, Music Swims Back to Me. And that's actually how I feel about it. I've always journaled. In many, many ways, the English language and my love for language in general really honed my poetry. But I didn't really begin writing poetry until I was an undergraduate at Emerson College. So I started off as a broadcast journalism, or more loosely communications major, and realized that as an introvert, it really just was not the right path, even though everyone was telling me you have to study broadcast journalism. I didn't do that, so I chose writing and publishing. But I began writing short stories, and I tried writing screenplays. However, when I began writing poetry, something about that genre just felt right. And as a young adult, it was an amazing place to explore the very intense emotions I had. It was a place where I could explore my own background, kind of juxtapose Chinese words with the English, really question the nature of language, but also feel like it was a safe place for me to work out, if you will, so many of the questions that kind of plagued me throughout my childhood and into my young adult life. And I just took to it very naturally. And when I did, there was an amazing door that had opened. So it's continued on ever since. Poetry came to me, and it always sounds like a cliche, but I truly believe that it saved me. Um, English is not my first language, so it's miraculous that I've come to this place in life where my livelihood, both in terms of career and in terms of creativity, is just imbued by words, and specifically by the English language. So it's a wonderful question. Thank you.
Was it at Emerson College that you started to write poetry?
It was, absolutely. So I switched majors, and like you had announced in my intro, I started to attend poetry workshops and creative writing workshops in general. But I also, got to know the American canon quite a bit more than I had in high school. One really pivotal experience was in a poetry workshop with a fantastic professor, Jonathan Aaron, and he had actually played Leonard Cohen's Suzanne, which I had never heard. I had no idea it was a poem. I heard it first as a piece of music, which is poetry unto itself. But then we read it on the page, and it just was amazing to me. So yes, I began writing at Emerson, and I took some time off between undergrad and grad school, but I continued writing. I went to a lot of open mics around the Cambridge, Somerville, Boston area. And I made some amazing friends. I've been friends with, we call ourselves the Four Elements, but this group of young women at the time who just kind of found each other and performed all over. And
Street feet women?
that's like it. No, not street feet. The group is now defunct, although our friendships are not. So we called ourselves the Four Elements, and it wasn't a proper writing group per se. It was more of a performance group. So we would perform at the Cambridge's Lizard Lounge on Mass Ave, and then several other venues, smaller venues. That was a little while ago. It was in the late 90s, early aughts. But I still have very vivid memories of, the bravado that we had and how young we were. Yeah.
Well, I just learned that from what your answer was a second ago, that we share a liking of Leonard Cohen's poetry.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, some of his early work was indeed in his early volumes of poetry. Some of his early songs first appeared in his early volumes of poetry, like Suzanne, for example. I do want to ask you, when you were doing your Master's for Fine Arts, I assume you had to do a thesis or something along those lines?
I did.
I'm just curious as to what was the subject of the thesis.
It's a great question. It was, for the most part, rewriting of mythological figures and rewritings of fairy tales. And I think as a very young poet, it was definitely inspired by Anne Sexton's Transformations, which, reading her collection at the time blew my mind. Just seeing her radical revision of, for example, Briar Rose, i.e. Sleeping Beauty, as a retelling of sexual abuse, a retelling of a young woman or princess who's catatonic. It was amazing that we could do that as writers and reimagine these old fairy tales. So a lot of it was based on mythology, but part of it was also based on this burgeoning work that I still am working on. It's ever a work in progress, and it had to do with my parents' escape from communist China into Hong Kong, which is where I was born, and then subsequently their migration into the United States. So they landed in the Bronx in New York in I want to say it was 1975. It was sometime around there, but I was 6 months old when we came to the States.
Well, tonight, I think the viewers, based on my having heard you read your work in
Mhm.
Brockton last month, I think the viewers of this program are in for a real treat this evening
Yeah.
when they hear you read your work. I was so very impressed with you, and I was so glad that after we got to speak after that event, that you agreed to come on this program. Thank you so much. And we look forward to hearing your reading in a few minutes. Thank you.
No, thank you as well. Thank you for your kind words, and for the entire staff of this wonderful show. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your putting the Zoom reading together. I know it's always kind of daunting to deal with the technology, so I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good evening. My name is Christina Liu, and I am delighted to bring forth these poems to all of you. I'm actually going to start with a translation of a translation. So this was a very short poem done under the tutelage of Martha Collins at the Joiner Institute, and it's actually based upon a translation of a Vietnamese poet. The title of the poem is Blue Dress after Blue Gang. Blue dress. We move up, blurring mist lines. We step, the path slips from grass, from love. Youth is sorrow soddened. We wait for apparitions to be swallowed by moon. Remember our birthing, a woman sways in blue. Remember silkworms feasting on mulberry leaves as river fills our throats. The next piece is called I Stow That Ring Within Sight, and it's fairly autobiographical. I stow that ring within sight, rust glimmering under neon punk, under Canal Street's trash, its poverty for song, a sparrow, for distinction between rust or sun, dust or marrow. Mother bought her own ring some years before nights of glass shards, howling dogs, machine gunned eyes, scent of MSG from father, a sham. Swimming together away from China, he held to her feet, hair, her bloated belly. She filled me with sea, tentacles alight, his heart pure ink, regret. Dawn, 7 years, then 10 years later, she threw small stars into their dingy abyss. Father caught the keys each time. I watched him enter, burn peanut oil, eat bitter melon. Wages in his pocket jingled to nothing. For years, she wanted pieces of diamond, chipped opal, some emblem of the Gold Mountain promise, and not my father's waiter shirt. This archetypal badge of surrender. A sigh. Where are my gold slippers? My throne, my heart, my sea. Mother chokes salt, begins to fetch. The next piece is actually the title of my graduate dissertation, Ophelia in Stasis. Ophelia in Stasis. I won't imagine how long she's been there, in Silver River or bathtub, with her head bent back against the hard white marble, or fingertips slipping along the edge of flood. I'll try to imagine her body's movements now, swept along with the currents and eddies, her hair seaweed waving for sailors her own sailor, never to come again. She must move now as she did in life, flowing with whatever wind and words whispered in her ear, with scarcely an afterthought, propelled always by another's momentum, by the sword and thrust of another's words. She could be ageless, but most likely she's a girl. Her limbs are slender and white. I would see the pronouns clavicle, her throat opening tonight. Over and over, her drowned form, the silent transgression, has been linked to water lilies, crowned by flowers and reeds, surrounded by small golden fish, captured in words and frozen by the master's eye. But I dream her core sometimes as a red fist, shaking off the clinging flowers, ready to eat the world. This next piece is entitled Snapshot, and it was published in Pangaris. Snapshot. Glimmer on the sidewalk, August grit smells of old hot dog water, pigeons bathing in fountains, children running into fountains, shimmying up fire escapes, and this whole damn apple wavy with summer stank and construction yells, and how mommy stops me from buying arancini as I quell saliva and lust. Boys grow tall and harder in their Jordache jeans, breakdancing near the jungle gym, and Gina can't have enough Aquanet to keep her banks so high, closer to Empire, her state, the apple of her ass, taunting the entire playground. Even the cigarette smoke snakes a corner all over, all over. There are diamonds on Canal Street. There are needles in the sky and hawkers hiding from police. And their warning cries down street grids are oceans, sonic and important. So blankets of fuchsia, sienna wrap up as hands hide tchotchkes, fruit dragons all running away from this Scrabble, gaudy dragon ghetto of the Northeast. Chinatown, Chinatown, how your alleys run my veins. And this next piece is very timely. It's based on a very iconic figure, and it's called For Liberty. For Liberty. She stands back to the billowing wind, the green isolated wreckage of a gift long rusted, pained by consumption and 1,000 centuries of rain. No great wind lifts her dress so that we may see the woman, the girl underneath the green, the flesh of the promise. The tired come, the hungry, in masses gray and forever. The land is divided into lines, state, brother, color, north and south, and sister and bloodlines, and the lines continue to threaten until the cup will crack one day, until something more than blood will flow from the earth below. She stands on land that is half island, half haven. They will come because of streets which are gold, because of the burning fields of sugarcane and the burning buildings of genocide, fratricide. They will come because of hunger and a thirst for something more ambiguous, something not, never to be found under a rusting steel skirt. Fairies circle like birds or prayers around her. When they come, they will renounce their homelands, their names, and the places of wandering long ago. The old streets melt away so soon already. Now they turn to face destinies as fragile as islands. The uncertain mooring rocks a lullaby. They are as unknowing as babies. The great green lady never smiles. Her glacial beauty is a mocking promise. And yet, We wait for the wind to blow her dress. We wait for her to reveal her secrets. This next piece is from an anthology that I'm very proud to be in. It's called Metaphors Are Not Enough, and it's poetry and prose by the Street Feet woman. Broken skin. Broken skin, mandolin, grated ginger, snap peas, and chopped celery. Look at what bleeds for you. Tonight, look at me, filling your stomach. And I'll read another longer piece, also in the same anthology. It's called Beyond China, for my mother, after a dream. Beyond China. You tell me you love my hair, its liquid darkness flashing white halos, and you, its emanation. I tell you this darkness is a lie. Once, the sea never knew darkness, but a depth beyond longing, far below reaching, where creatures swam in murkier fronds. No entanglements, the play of wholeness, the undividing of continents and countries. And there was this room, an echo, silent temple waiting for deities to fill stones with answers. And always there was my voice running after yours until each object was pierced by blue staccato, held breathless. Our songs bounced off of each other, a refraction of pain, songs which held and would not give back. So filled with gravity were they. We were shamed, naked, searching each other in astonished air. We were vulnerable like a mouth opening in December. Outside, hands were giant as beggars while they caught silver rain. There was a world in here, and that world was ours. China was an unbroken sky on the other side of the earth. China was the sound of rain before the sky would open, the sound flowers made before a storm, waiting for the dew to keep them bat held intact, lest the separation of sky and earth became unbearable, lest the petals would not hold and disperse. And you say that it's all the same longing. See how you press your body to the mirror because the shock of recognition each time does not erase. And we are in danger of dispersing as petal to stem, a tower to the land, as sands to a devouring sea. Let's go to China one day so that we can forget we ever ate, so that we may forget displacement. My own voice has always run after yours. My own body finds itself tired from aching. So I say yes, because tonight everything is the sound of a flower drowned by rain. And you say that the room is turning silver. Each drop of rain holds a question mark, and the sky is beginning to wonder. China is slipping further away from us. I'm afraid I cannot remember. No, this room is dark like yesterday and last year and 1,000 years before us, when grievances were violet, the night yet whole. Go, but let me give you my face. Let your fingers give themselves to my body so that each may swell with the luxury of remembrance. Because it is time which forgets so quickly, like water in fluid undulation in its liquid achingness. I would love you beyond China. I would love you beyond silver and desolation and secret places where the ground is swollen with remembrance and snow-capped mountains or wounded by starlight. Because in silver, in the tower, in the open hands of strangers, we still search in astonished air. My hair is still dark, and you are still its emanation. We are still in this room, in America, and not China, and there is nothing but fallen rain. My next piece is untitled. To bite into the juice of a dumpling, pork essence, leek forested, vapor burning tongue. I gritted through years, pretended to satiate my inchoate devastation, fright, into plain white rice. All the bullies and stomach aches, hiding and gurgling, heaving laxatives, hurling the sun back to God. I didn't want penetration and the hot ache of genitals. I tried to deaden heat by iceberg lettuce, lemon water. I would have given anything to devour umami, chili garlic, lemongrass. You, a life later, feeding me whole. This next piece is called Advice to a Young Princess Being Pursued. Here's the secret. He won't want you if you outrun him. Princes wish for swooning spells, fits of delirium, thin, pretty girls in bone corsets made to bind. Better yet, he would be repelled by large feet made for trampling dirt roads. A prince desires the heart of a bloody foot bound in glass, the mermaid who pines for legs to open, and not the freedom of an entire ocean. You won't see him as you're coming, but you'll feel his hunger in the form of 1,000 pinpricks on the back of your small white neck, where your hair's been pinned up so beautifully for the ball, his wedding night, for the red mouth of the volcano, waiting for sacrifice. But that won't matter to you anymore. What will matter is the breadth and scope of the horizon calling for you, the clean, cold air filling your lungs with power, ropey, tight muscles you'll discover as you run to outrace time, your role of princess and the broken hymen, your father and mother waiting back home with the dowry and all their good intentions. Right now, though, there's only this straight line, a thread of hope, the sun and moon so far away from you now. Ready? Go. I'll end with this last piece called Hypothetical. And it's a love poem. Hypothetical. What if I can't feel sap on your skin, the way musk and salt builds up nightly, cleaving us together? What if the leaves we visit every year, whom are they beholden to? Who are we to think they'll burn for us? I want you solid in each plum I touch, each grain of sand we land upon. I want you in the crust under my eyes, marking morning, its blue sun, the groan of your awakening. Thank you so much.
Welcome to For the Love of Words. My name is Priscilla Almquist-Olsen, your host, and we have two guests today, and they are partners in musical crime, I understand.
Yes.
We have Tim McGreary, who's in Florida, and we have Robert Paul. And Robert, where are you located?
I'm in North Florida. It's
Okay.
the Forgotten Coast. so to speak.
Okay.
We call it Southern Alabama.
Very much so. LA,
Come
lower
on,
Alabama.
Lower Alabama.
That's
So
right.
tell me, how would you characterize your music? Is it country pop, country rock, country whatever? How would you characterize it?
Was this a multiple choice or is that A, B, C, or D, or all? I would say the record covers all of those,
I see.
all those areas.
Yeah.
Country rock, country pop, pop, and rock. Definitely.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything.
Okay, and you two have been together for a long time, I understand. Tell me a little bit about your background, Tim.
My background? Okay, well, I've been writing songs for a long time, been tons of original bands since I've been like, I don't know, 17. I was 83, 84, was signed to A&M Records. We used to tour with like Billy Idol, Duran Duran, Depeche Mode, The Cure, who else? Simple Minds, everyone that was sort of famous back then. And so we did that for 2 years. We did the record in England at Sarm East. And then later on, I did a couple solo records. During that time, I became a paramedic and a firefighter and a flight medic, and I did that for 23 years. I was also on the DMAT team, which is a federal team. So when the towers fell in 2001, I was up there with the team on Ground Zero, helping the firefighters as a paramedic, and then also with the people in Katrina. So I've been doing that, and then. I've been writing in Nashville the last 12 years. Taught me a lot. I went up there. I thought, I was a songwriter because I had a record deal. Yeah. And I was totally schooled. And luckily, these guys were patient with me. And but I always had at least I had ideas. And then what they did is they sort of honed my skills. And after a couple of years being there, like sort of go going. And that's where I met Mike Kinnaman. And it was funny because when I went to his office the first time, I had sent him some songs and he wasn't really impressed. So I said, "Hey, Mike, I'm in town. I'm doing a festival." He goes, "Well, you got 10 minutes. Come on in." And I said, "You can play one verse or one chorus or one song." And I went, "Okay." And he heard this song called "Hole in Me" and he loved it and let me play the whole song. And then that night he took me to a party with every heavy Nashville producer, and made me play the song in front of him. So, but we're best friends. And so he's of course him and Robbie have a long history. And he said, "Hey, listen, I think you and Robbie do well if we get together," and we did. And so this is our first endeavor as putting a whole album together, and we're pretty proud of this one, I think.
Great. So Robert,
Yes, ma'am.
I understand you're playing guitar. Is that bass guitar?
No, ma'am. I'm playing anything that's electric on the record. I'm playing
Okay.
electric rhythms, leads, fills, whatever.
Slide,
Slide. Yeah.
guitar, yeah, yeah. He's a guitar player, Priscilla. That's what he
And
plays. Plays good.
So Robert, what's the experience like working with Tim?
Oh,
Peanut.
wow. I guess we've done quite a few interviews, and I haven't been asked that question once, not one time. Has anybody said or given me the opportunity to say, "What's it like to work with Tim McGreary?" Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I have to think a second. So, he is probably unsung, unheard of, maybe one of the best producers I ever worked with. And I've worked with them all. I worked with Al Cooper, who produced Leonard Skinner. I've worked with Kevin Elson, who produced Journey. I've worked with a lot of producers at a high level. And Tim's method will get more out of you than anybody I ever played with. And believe me, Al Cooper could get stuff out of you. But Tim's method is to set you up, so to speak, with most of the music put together so that when it comes time to do what I'm doing, I have this lush surrounding, so to speak, and it makes it so much easier. I've made 6, 7 records with Johnny Van Zant, and as the main songwriter in the studio, I had to become a producer, and so I didn't participate as much as I should have as a guitar player. So when I decided to do solo stuff, I was looking for somebody that could pull melodies out of me and definitely lead breaks that people would pay attention to. And so I really surprisingly, don't have anything bad to say about him.
Okay,
He calls me too much, but I
so
don't care.
so when it comes to songwriting and the lyrics, Tim, does Robert contribute in that regard?
Mostly in the music. I'm pretty much the lyricist, but we always help. We bang things together, like back and forth, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it's like this works, that doesn't. But I've been I've written over 1,000 songs. So, and I've been working, and I work with a lot of and I do a lot of co-writing in Nashville, like tons of it. Like I used to go there. I haven't gone in a while because I've been doing so much here in my studio, but I do like long-term stuff. But I would go up there and in 2 weeks and write 25 songs in 2 weeks with with co-writing. So, and I did that for years, like 12 years. So I have lots behind. We had William Shatner did one of my songs. The old Star Trek dude. So I mean, yeah. So we have some some funny stories. But I had a lot of people around the world and stuff like that, and did my songs. And and what we do is there's a thing called putting furniture in the room. And what that is giving you, like, not just like a lot of young songwriters, they just talk about emotions, like, and stuff, but they don't give you any, like, something you can see. Like, and that when love comes around, like these chorus, like, it always comes easy, when it's right from the start, and like a stray bullet that goes straight to your heart. You didn't see it coming, but you're ready for it now. So
I
somehow,
don't think she's there, Tim.
are you here?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I like
Well, the
it.
thing is, it's a straight, the straight bullets. Like it's, I don't want to talk about the book, but the thing is, you see, like it's like whoa, it's a metaphor for, like, I wasn't even looking, and all of a sudden there it is. The person that
Exactly.
that you should be with, and that's what. So that's the difference. And there's a song called American Made, and like the first verse is, you know, the smoking parts of a Harley and the rumble that they make. It's the laughter of a child, or first July parade. You're at a baseball diamond on a hot summer night. You got a hot dog and an ice cold beer, and you're singing the national anthem, holding back a tear. Now you can see all that stuff.
Yeah, you
You
can.
can see, right, and that's what they teach you in Nashville. Right with that, don't forget about all the rhyming stuff and all the stuff like that. But give something that people can, like they can sort of, oh, okay, I get that, I can see that, and then that's what makes a song great. I think, I don't know, I try to do that best I
Yeah.
can.
And so your imagery is very American, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's we're talking uh love songs, or love songs worldwide. You know what I mean? That when love comes around, and that whole song was like, I've written that because we started with that one, and I had a chorus, and Robbie said, look, try these chords, you'd be better, and he was right. So, but I had like five sisters, and and I got two daughters, and I have so many people that are in that thing where, like, they're not dating because they can't find anybody, and and it's like, and they're looking, and there's like, so, and I said, well, and I said, so the whole thing is like, victims can be victims all they want. So if you think that, it's never going to happen, guess what? Never going to happen. You know what I
Right.
mean? Sometimes.
Well, it
But
sounds
if you,
like you have really persevered, and that's the name of the game, isn't it? You never give up, and get
yeah,
as much information and skills from as many people as you can. And you obviously have done that. Being in Nashville, you really got all the basics of songwriting, and you took all the information and the tips that people gave you, and you saw people in action, and then you replicated your own spirit, your own
right.
techniques, and so forth. So, Robert, of all the
Wow.
of all
She
the
should
songs
write your bio, Tim. That was excellent.
of all the songs that Tim has written, do you have a favorite?
The ones that I've written with him are just on his own.
No, it can be together, that you've written together, but is there a number
Well,
one favorite?
yeah, well, mine is a song called "Pain." I think
uh,
that's what it's called, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's hopefully going to put it on the next record.
Hmm.
Maybe adding my guitar to it will make it a little heavier,
Yeah, yep.
but great song. But on this record, "Love Comes Around." It's just It's just magic. It's artistry. The
And
lyrics are right in your mind right away.
and when you write a song together, what comes first, the lyrics or the melody?
Ooh. Well, it's probably a little bit of both, I would say.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
sometimes it's lyric, and sometimes a lick or a riff, a passage, 3, 4 chords strung together, so to speak.
right. I mean, it's really like people always say, like, do you have a exact way you work? You know what I mean?
No,
And that I've never known anybody that only works one way. You know what I mean? It's just usually like, it depends on who's in the room, depends what we're doing, all the other things combined. But for me, I have to have music. Music makes my lyric brain come alive. I mean, it's just like
instantly.
it's like
Yeah.
putting the on button. It's like, oh, and things just start coming to me. Like and I say, write that down, write that down. It's like real quick, because yeah, being attention deficit, you get like, which is
You
great because you're
gotta,
always
I do
on.
have fun, yeah.
Yeah.
I hear people in a grocery store say something, and I'll go up to them. I say, "What'd you say?" And they go,
Well,
"Wow, are you crazy, sir?"
I mean,
I
one of
was
my
just
favorite
writing songs.
My favorite one is my friend got one of my friends got married, and his old country grandma. This is like something you pull from grandma, and so she went to the new bride. She's like, "Now, darling," she goes, "you want to have a long and happy marriage?" And of course, the new bride says, "Well, yes, ma'am, I do." "Well, honey, I'm going to tell you the secret." She goes, "Well, what is it?" She goes, "You got to be good to your man because you don't feed the dog at home. He'll be digging in the trash." And I went, "Oh my God, seriously." So so I,
Well,
so I
don't
wrote that
worry.
with. I wrote that, and she's 90 years old. I said it was so funny, and I wrote that with a guy named Buddy Brock, who's written some huge country hits like "Watermelon Crawl" and writes for Kenny Chesney and all kinds of stuff. And he's a great guy, and he's just a great lyricist too. And he taught me a lot of stuff just listening to him and working with him for a few songs. I was an honor to work with some of these people that have
So
these
Tim,
big.
Tim,
Yeah,
you suffice it to say that you get your ideas not just from your own perceptions in life day by day, but also from other people. As Robert pointed out, the lady in the grocery store, or somebody who you just meet on the street.
right.
Maybe it's a
TV,
headline.
TV.
I was going to say
TV.
that TV, yeah, and it could be a headline or something.
Yeah.
But we're going to
Well,
hear
I mean,
some of your music today. Tell me about the different songs that we're going to hear and how they originated.
uh, you know, uh, I guess the one with "You Got Me Praying." I'm a pretty spiritual guy. You know what I mean. I've been through some stuff. I'm 38 years clean and sober. I lost my 18-year-old son in a car accident in 2006.
Oh my.
I've had 3 friends last year commit suicide, firefighter friends that I worked with.
Oh,
So I mean, so I've been through a lot of stuff like that, and I lost a brother when I was 3 and a half. He got killed by a car. I mean, all this stuff. So the thing is, I have a lot to pull from. You know what I mean? Those experiences. Then being a paramedic, the stuff you see for 23 years, especially a flight medic, you get all the good stuff. So, you know what I mean? So you got me praying. It's just like one of those things, like, you get to that point sometimes, like, I'm just getting sort of sucked in from my past, and, and everything's going around me like in a whirlwind. And I just like, where do I go? And you know what? You got me praying.
yeah. Okay.
You,
Well,
yeah,
that's a pretty heavy story you're telling, and you got me praying is all probably the
yeah,
best answer to the problems and the
right, exactly.
challenges and the challenges. So what about that other one? What comes around? Is it called?
When love comes around.
When
Yeah.
love comes around. Yeah.
Well, that was just, that's a love song. you know,
100% love song.
yeah, you
And
know what I
that's a
mean?
But it's
universal
about
thing.
new relationships, meeting somebody new. For me, it was based on a relationship that went for a long time and it ended. So that's where I got inspiration to play it as far as emotions. So
Right. And
Okay.
then kick,
And
and
then
then
there's a
kicking
kind
down the road.
oh yeah.
That's
What about that
that's
one?
that's just like I'm gone. I'm leaving, and the only thing I want is my guitar. You can have all the rest of the stuff. I don't care.
everything. You can have
Everything.
the car, the house, all
Take
of
it.
it.
As
Take
long
it.
as I have my guitar, I'm out of here. And it's just like it's just sort of it's a great if you're driving. stick that one on, Priscilla. You're like, then, yeah, it's just like, it's fun, you know.
And
It's just,
it's not just a man, it can be a woman.
it could be a woman, it could be anybody. Yeah,
Absolutely. Women have to go through the same thing, believe me.
pretty much the songs that we sing, except for "She's Long Gone," or it can be anyone can use. You know, she's long gone.
What's wrong with long gone?
Nothing, but it's like it's pretty much male dominated. Like she's
It is.
long gone. You know.
Okay.
Well, unless you know.
But
So-
you said it could be a woman saying, she's talking about somebody saying, well, she can't take it no more. She's gone. She's long gone.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. But yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're doing live performances as well as being in the recording studio. How do you get your gigs?
You got to know people.
You gotta know people. We have
You got to know people.
right now we just put the album together, and so we had a assemble, and these guys heard the record, and they called Robbie and say, we want to be on this project, and these are all pros. So we're getting together in the 10th and the 11th of April, and start the rehearsal and start the process to get ready for live gigs. And then one of the guys there is like, he's pretty connected in a couple ways, so he can
tell
probably
me,
get some good openers.
Robert and Tim, we have about 2 minutes left for the interview before the music starts, and I just want to know, tell me, what do you have to say to your viewers and your fans? What do you want them to know about you?
Wow, 2 minutes. I would say that I am very ambitious, but I also don't play music for money.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't believe that you can create anything of value if you're just sitting there trying to do it for money.
Right.
I don't think anything great comes out of that. And my example is this record.
Right.
Tim is comfortable in his life, so am I, but we're not rich, but we did it for the music because our music is good as anybody that's out there. So,
And we're going to hear that too.
it
Tim.
needed to be done.
And Tim,
Yeah,
how about you? What do you want your fans to know about you and your
I just
music?
I love music. I love the way it connects people. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like, the thing is, people say, well, how long are you going to do it? Well, as long as people are listening to my music and they're enjoying it, they're connecting to it, they're having a good time. Songs can make you cry. They can make you get in the mood. They can make you have fun. They can make you laugh. And that's the thing. Music is so important.
Yes.
You go to a crowd with 50,000 people, and all of a sudden, different races, different religions, races, sexual identities. But when the music comes on, everyone's one.
Listen, thank you so much, Tim McGreary and Robert Paul, for being on For the Love of Words, and continued success. And now we're going to enjoy your music. All the best, and maybe we'll see you sometime in the future again.
Cause you tried to start a fire without any flame. No